Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for an Irish derby of the URC just before the new year. Munster versus Leinster. Now, this is always a very intriguing contest, normally pretty close as well. And after last week's Irish derbies, I feel like this one might be no different. But looking through at the starting lineups, first of all, for Munster, they have gone with a strong side here to kick off or to end 2024 on a high. Blula, Scannell, and Ollie Jaeger as the front row, Wickerley alongside Tyke Byrne in the locking duo. Now, Byrne will have to have a massive game here. Not only has he got James Ryan and Ryan Beard up against him, the Ryans, but he has also got that formidable Leinster loose board trio to deal with. Caelan Doris, Josh Van den Flare, and Ryan Beard. Another Ryan. Man, there's a lot of Ryans in this Leinster side. Looking through at the loose board trio, it is a Hearn, Kendallin, and Gavin Coombs as the number 8. He is another man that will have to really step up here at Thorntman Park if the Munster side want to get the win. Coughlin at number 9 with Billy Burns slotting in at 10. Scannell and Farrell as the midfield combo with Shane Daly, Kelvin Nash, and Mike Haley at number 15 for Leinster. They haven't got a few of the familiar faces, well, at least familiar recently, which that is, of course, Geordie Barrett. He has been doing brilliantly for Leinster so far, but in the front row it is Boyle, Kelleher, and Slimani. So no Andrew Porter in that starting side. Joe McCarthy alongside James Ryan. Hang on, I've been set up. I've got James Ryan, Ryan Beard, and there is Joe McCarthy. In fact, he is there as the number 4. I misread. Ryan Beard at number 6, Josh Van den Flare at number 7, and number 8, Caelan Doris. Then in the back line, I should say, Luke McGrath and Sam Prendergast. Now, Prendergast has actually been partnering very well with this midfield combination. Henshaw and Ringrose will be for this matchup. O'Brien out on the wings, and then Jamie Osborne at number 15. The way that the table currently sits, Leinster are at the top of the bunch. They have not been defeated throughout 2024, but that can all change. This is the final game. Munster come in as large underdogs, but they have got the home side advantage, or the home field advantage for this matchup. If they were able to get themselves a win, they could finish as high as 3rd for the end of the year. Of course, there is still another match to come for 2024, though. The Sharks taking on Stormers, who are down here below number 11. So the Sharks could finish just that little bit higher if they were victorious. Looking through at the chat, we have got Evening Hamish says, Jimbo, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Shots Bees is here, and as said, Leinster. And Hyle says, Richard as well, Leinster win. But if there is a slippery fixture for any team, it's away to Munster midwinter. And it's a very good point. Like, Leinster have looked the real deal throughout this season. 8 wins from 8. But it does seem to be this derby between Munster and Leinster seems to either bring out the best in Munster or bring out sometimes the worst in Leinster. So it's hard to know what's actually going to happen here in front of a pretty packed crowd by the looks of it. And it's the 27th over there at the moment. Hopefully everyone did have a very Merry Christmas, as we have got from Ollie there. Merry Xmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Hi, Hamish and everyone. I hope all had a great Christmas, says Lilia B. And good evening, Hamish. Let's go Leinster, says Gary Miller. And there as well. But I'm looking forward to this combination at the back. Tommy O'Brien out on one wing, Jimmy O'Brien out on the other, and then you've got Jamie Osborne, the youngster, at 15. This is very much a developing Leinster side. They've got a lot of youngsters in there. Munster, they've got a bit more of that experience across the board, but still not massive numbers. You'd have to say. Martin Myers, it's up, Hamish. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. But both sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel for this matchup. Do, of course, let me know your score predictions in the comments as well. I'm thinking this one, like, it's either going to be an extremely high scoring game and we're going to see around 60 points, or we're going to see a really close, hard fought victory for one of these two teams. I'm going to go Leinster by 7. But it could be a lot closer, to be honest, and I actually do hope that it is a lot closer. But Tyke Byrne about to lead out his side. Looking through at the benches as well while we are at it for these two teams. He will be the only Tyke who is playing in this game. No Tyke Furlong for Leinster, but instead Baron, Porter, and Cian Healy will be the front row replacements. Deeney and Penny alongside Gunn, Byrne, and Jordan Lama as the number 23 for Munster. They have got Baron as well, the other Baron. I believe they're related. I think they're brothers. Ryan and Ryan, as there's a lot of double-ups for names in this match, I do have to say. Gleeson, Hodnett, Patterson, Butler, and O'Connor as the number 23. They are currently playing a bit of zombie, which, of course, both sides will be able to get behind, seeing as it is the Irish Classic. But to wait and see how this first 5 minutes or so goes. Both of these sides, how much have they been training over Christmas? That is the big question. Is there going to be a bit of sluggishness after a big Christmas feed, or will they be fit and rearing to go from the get-go? Ben Grove White will be the referee in charge of this one. How's the weather looking? Will it play a factor in this game? It's looking pretty nice, to be fair. Like, I don't think there's any rain from what I've seen. It's just cold. So maybe a few early drops. Other than that, hopefully a very free-flowing game of rugby. But it's kicked off by Leinster deep into Munster's territory. Now kick downfield, and that is actually a very good kick. Straight from the get-go for the young number 9, Ethan Coughlin. He's got a big opportunity here with Connor Murray not being in the starting side. What effects do you think this outcome will have on the rice price in Pakistan? I would say not much, to be honest. Maybe if Pakistan were playing, it would have a bit more of an effect. We have got there, hi Chris, missed Libertus earlier, but have watched it. Very interesting now, rugby. Says Neville on 5 point for Leinster, but they're back to have a rough night. They're back 3 to have a rough night. Oh, see, I actually think that back 3 will go all right here. Although they will be under a lot of pressure from Munster, that is for sure. Now Munster already moving up to the halfway line with Shane Daly. Coughlin goes back across to, it would have been Wickerley. Now Coughlin back into the pocket. Kick downfield. Just a nice, easy one for Jimmy O'Brien, or at least it looked like it should have been until the ball started having other ideas. Does kick it into touch, or sorry, I should say Jamie Osborne. I think I called him Jimmy O'Brien. Like I said, a lot of similarities in the names for today. Now going to the short side here. Nice phase play at the moment from Munster, just being able to get a few through their hands. Leinster, they will not like this very much. They love being completely in control throughout the game. How's Hamish? Says, Neville, I'm doing all right. Overall, nice early morning start for us. That is going to be the penalty going the way of Munster. And this is a kickable 3 if they want it. And Leinster is so deep, so much talent, says Gary, and happy holidays, says Daniel. Same to you. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to see if the mindset is to take every point that's available, or whether the mindset is go for broke and go for the corner from the get-go. I think they'll go for the corner here. And they do. They've decided that they need as many points as physically possible. And the best way to do that is to score tries in the corner. Munster 28, Leinster 32. There's a prediction there from Neville, but we're just going to see it there. Robbie Henshaw trying to get over the ball. No clear release, I believe, is what he got pinged for. Now Niall Scannell throws it in. That's going to be overcooked and claimed by Leinster. So early mistake coming from Munster. Does that make them not want to go for that 3 anymore? Or sorry, go for the corner anymore? Instead opt for the 3. Going to be kicked into touch by Sam Prendergast. About 40 metres out now from Leinster's line. Munster will have another line out. Slightly overthrown over the top of Tyburn. At line out time, are you going to do any big bash, Hamish? Probably not this year, only because if I was going to do it, I want to fully commit, but I don't think I'll be able to do consistently game after game for the comp. Just because of like other things that were got on around the same time. So that makes sense. Like I'm going away for New Year, so that will be at least a few games that we won't be able to cover on the channel. And I feel like if I do a competition, I want to cover as much of it as possible. That one's going to go dead. A little bit too much juice on that kick for Munster. Billy Burns. He's under a lot of pressure in that fly half jersey. Some people love him, some people do not. And I feel like depending on how he goes here, will depend on how many Irish supporters do love Billy Burns. But yeah, just a little bit too much on that one. 3.5 minutes into the contest already, and we now get ourselves the first scrum of the day, and I feel like it could be the first of many. Okay, Ben Grove White really laying down the law. Billy Burns is rubbish, always was, says Jimbo. He's a very, I would say, 50-50 type of player. How he'll either have an absolutely stunning game, but those are normally overshadowed by the poor ones that he ends up having more consistently. Now Slimani and Ollie Jaeger, 2 big tight head props in this battle. And that looks like a good scrum overall for Leinster, and it's going to hold relatively strong, and it will be now another scrum reset. Well, Slimani is fired up at the moment, having a bit of a chat to Blula, is opposite in the scrum. They go up again. I would say Munster will end up penalised. Munster have been told to stay down. There you go. Question is, will they be able to do so? This Leinster pack is pretty big overall compared to some of them. Andrew Porter crushing it, says Gary Miller, although he is coming off the bench. Jack Boyle, the youngster who gets the start in that number 1 jersey. But yeah, Porter will be a super sub in this contest. He just brings that physicality. He's been a little bit unlucky recently, hasn't he? I think he got a yellow card for a scrum. Who was that up against? That was up against the Bristol Bears, how he had only just come on the field and then he got yellow carded for the scrum not behaving, even though he hardly got an opportunity to get into it. Other than that, though, he's been going very good as of late. Andrew Porter, that is a good attack and run coming from Leinster. Their first chance to attack inside of the half, and already they've started to find some open space. Luke McGrath pierces through one, gets only 15 metres out from the try line. Sam Prendergast, skip pass out to Henshaw. Another skip pass out wide, but they've called it as forward. So Tommy O'Brien does not get to run it in. In fact, I think he might have dropped it anyway, but has travelled forward. Okay, so Caelan Doris is saying there was a player who got hit in the head. Referee said, that's our first interaction. This is not how we're going to go forward. So I don't think he liked the tone that Caelan Doris was talking to him in. Yeah, no, I don't think Doris is going to win that one. That was pretty soft in terms of the level of danger. The player was slipping down, the man had his arms wrapped, and it's just the fact that he slightly got him maybe on the forehead as he fell. Right, another scrum here. It's time for Munster to have the feed. Anna Nagara cheering for Munster from France, says Gary. Well, that's the thing, like the Irish derby, it always seems to be that you have a side. You know, you either want Munster to win. Normally the ones who are going for Munster want to see that upset in terms of from a neutral standpoint, whereas Leinster, they have got that solid fan base that want to see them finish 2024 undefeated in this competition of the URC. And we got another scrum reset. We're going to get a few of those today. We've already had 3, and we're 7 minutes in. I don't think it's very slippery underfoot either. I think just both players, there seems to be a lot more ego that goes into scrums than there used to be. In terms of the front rows just don't like each other, or they don't like the idea of another front rower getting the better of them. In the old day, you solve that with an uppercut, and nowadays you're not allowed to, and they just exchange verbal blows rather than physical. See there, Jacques in the Leinster coaching box. Hamish, you think Virat Kohli was out of line with his shoulder charge of Sam Constant? It was interesting, wasn't it? It was something that you didn't really expect to see from Virat, but then at the same time, when you think about it, he is the type of player who would do that and get himself into trouble. But yeah, obviously Constant rattled him quite a bit. That's going to be now the penalty going the way of Leinster this time. They have got the scrum penalty against the feed. Big slap of the wrist from Jack Boyle. He's a happy man at the moment, winning his side of the scrum. Just powering Munster backwards. They mentioned about how Munster were a bit too high in that scrum, and the referee had already said try and keep your heads down a bit more, Munster. That body height low. Now Sam Prendergast, he has kicked this one for the corner. Leinster also with that mindset that they want to go for the line out. No ego for South Africa, just pure size and power, says Gary Miller. Now Ronan Kelleher ready to throw this one in. And bad call, Kelleher popped up first, says Jimbo. It's going to be thrown in, little short play. They're only 2 metres out from the line at the moment, and Kelleher has been wrestled down. Luke McGrath going back across to the left-hand side. Wednesday's New Year's 2025 next year. I assume so. I haven't actually looked at what the dates are for New Year and whatnot. I just know I won't be home for it. Now, McGrath, that's a massive gap opened up there for the young fly half. Or sorry, the slightly older scrum half, in fact. But McGrath, there's a pure silence at Thorpe Park now. That has really silenced the crowd. And they are not happy with Munster's defence, who are normally known for the way that they're able to defend. And they did relatively well early on. The line-out set piece not quite working out for Leinster, but eventually there was just a massive gap that opened up next to the breakdown, which always frustrates a coach with the fact that you can stick a scrum half through that gap and be completely untouched, or pretty much anyway, I think Coley got a 20% match fee fine for that. Yeah, and that won't hurt him. Like, let's be honest, Virat Kohli's got a bit more money than having to play match by match. So, yeah, he won't be concerned about that. He'll probably, like they said, he's probably quite happy with the thing that he received, because it was the same as what Travis Head and Siraj got for talking to each other, whereas Kohli actually dropped the shoulder. That one has just snuck over for Sam Prendergast, so they all make the score now 7-0 in favour of the away side, Leinster. Gap the size of Cape Town. Says Jimbo. Who's playing tomorrow? Will be the Stormers, speaking of Cape Town, and also the Sharks. So another South African derby. Like they say in their hostile environment, the crowd were not too happy with that one being scored. And evening, Hamish. Thanks for the commentary. Listening in Thornbury. In England, Merry Christmas, mate. Merry Christmas to you too, Joss. And are you commenting the Stormers versus Sharks tomorrow? We certainly are. We'll be getting up nice and early. A good old 4 a.m. kickoff for us here in New Zealand. A Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, champ, says Juan Pierre Bosch. Same to you, mate. One's going to be kicked into touch by Leinster. Now line out throw for the Munster men. They have to get back into this match. Going to be a chance here for Niall Scannell. There's a bit of a miscommunication on the last Munster line-out. Was a little bit overthrown in a good position on the field. That one has gone a lot better. And got too easy for Leinster. Come on, Munster, says Dennis. Yeah, who knows, maybe that try for Leinster was actually what Munster needed to really wake them up. I know that sounds weird, but certain sides do actually go a lot better when they've conceded, because they realise, right, we can't get away with silly mistakes. We've got to make sure we're closing that gap, staying strong. So maybe this is where we see Munster actually kind of find that next gear, which they will have to. Wish Geordie Barrett was playing, done well so far, says Gary. Yeah, he's been really strong in the URC thus far for for Leinster. Had himself 2 tries, I believe, from his 2 matches, one of which was off the bench. Now going across to the right-hand side. Now short ball from Coughlin. This is quickly recycled by Munster, keeping the breakdown going. Leinster known for that quick ruck speed, but Munster not too shabby in that department either. Quick hands out the back line, waiting for the bounce of the ball was Calvin Nash. Not quite having that momentum going forward that he would have liked, but that is a great pick and go from Gavin Coombs. Making a few extra metres. They've got the penalty advantage as well. Too much disruption going on in the Leinster breakdown. Ollie Jaeger, 22 metres out from the line. Coughlin goes back across to the left-hand side now. Skip pass from Billy Burns. Quick hands, nicely done by this backline. Daly, 20 metres out still. Did Argia start for Leinster? He did not, and he also isn't coming off the bench in this match either. So him and Geordie Barrett, 2 of the more well-known internationals playing. Oh, beautiful cross kick from Munster there. Gavin Coombs. That's a great low tackle made. In fact, a sensational tackle made by the young Jamie Osborne to stop that move. I see on YouTube, Kiwis love your mince and cheese pies. I have never heard of that combination. I'll make my own tomorrow. How you prefer the cheese to mince ratio? Normally, what you do is, if you're going to have the mince and cheese, you go with a little slice of cheese at the bottom. You put the mince in, and then you put a little slice of cheese on top. And depending on how much cheese you like will depend on what ratio you really need. But that's normally the go-to, just because or else then you have all the cheese on top or all the cheese on the bottom. You got to split it. Like that. Boom, boom. There you go. I also have not made a mince and cheese pie, though, so I can't really comment too much on it. And Coombs butchered that. He did. He had all the opportunities to get it over. Although, speaking of getting it over, Munster in a great position here. Looks like it has gone down, and Leinster shut it down again. Munster, their own worst enemies at the moment. Mince and cheese, yum. Sears, Spider Mech. And just once again, a great opportunity to attack. And it just didn't work out. Hello, mate. You having a good Christmas break? Sears Fleschen. I'll be honest, it hasn't been much of a break overall, but it's been good. It's been nice and, well, not really quiet, but it's been there. You know, we've had a couple, no we haven't. I was going to say we've had a couple sleep-ins, but I've actually been up earlier than normal. But I'm going on holiday for New Year's, so that'll be nice. Though I might get a slight break there, but I think we're going to film something while we're on holiday. But yeah, it's been good. How about yourself, Fleschen? 7-0 at the moment, 14 minutes in. Anyone wondering about Leinster and Munster for their derby? Of course, always entertaining when these two sides go head-to-head. Definitely when it's to close out the year. You know, you want to get that end on a high kind of feeling for these two teams. Caelan Doris breaking off the back of the scrum. Now, Cooking with Kiwi Lad says 10. Has that video come out? Because we actually did do a video about 3 days ago, me and George cooked steaks, and it didn't go very well. I ended up burning my hand. And I think it's going out maybe within the next couple of weeks. That other Sharks feast tomorrow. Says Neville. Yeah, I mean, if the Stormers can't find their rhythm, it is going to be a very good game for the Sharks. Oh, nice hands, but unfortunately then it was dropped by Mike Haley at the end of the play. He'll be disappointed with that one. Are you having a good time, family, food, booze and sports? Says Fleshin. I've been watching a little bit of the cricket so far. Australia versus India. Hopefully it's going to be another good day today of it. Up to day 3, I believe we are now. Also, Sri Lanka and New Zealand playing tonight in the cricket as well. So, plenty of action. Although I think I'll be missing that one because I'll be sleeping to then get up for the URC. So, a little cheese on top and a little cheese at the bottom. Thanks, we'll try it. Says Xander. Hi, folks from Colombia. Welcome in, Neil. So, there might be a slight injury here for Munster at the moment. So, we've got a little bit of a stoppage. The Munster crowd singing their Munster song. I don't actually know the Munster song. One of the girls in the crowd, or the woman in the crowd, actually looked like an old school teacher at my school. I wonder if she's actually over there. Might be, might not be. Probably not. Small world. Now, another scrum feed. We've had a few of these throughout today, and so far Leinster, I would say, have had the better of it. Man's got his Christmas hat on. Question is, how many days until we go from Christmas in terms of in the supermarkets to Easter? I'd say only another week or so, and then we'll be back into the Easter spirit of Easter eggs and bunnies and whatnot. Now, Luke McGrath, ready to put this ball in for Leinster. Got about 5 men on that left-hand side, and then directly behind the scrum, I've got Tommy O'Brien. South Africa versus Pakistan test is on a knife's edge. Could go either way tomorrow. Slight advantage for South Africa, I think. Says Xander. See, that's a shame that they aren't showing those matches in New Zealand, or at least I don't think they are anyway. They weren't showing West Indies when they were playing Test cricket, and I feel like they've kind of lost a lot of those licenses, which is, like I said, a big shame, because that sounds like it's going to be a good Test match. That's a nice run down the wing from Leinster, but they have gone into touch. Lots of cricket on. Pakistan playing the Wilted Flowers, says Neville. Now another line-out throw here for Munster. Bloody hell, Easter, says Fleshin. But yeah, normally it is straight from Christmas lights going down into Easter, isn't it? I have to say, I'm slightly glad that we've finished the Christmas period, though. Anytime you take George into a shop, he'll listen to whatever song's on and then just whistle it for the rest of the day. So I've heard a lot of Christmas songs in the form of George whistling them. And I wish I clicked like, but now I have to go. Does that make me even? I guess so. Cool story, bro. So we will see you later on. Will we ever be a good side again, says Jimbo, for what the Munster fans are singing. Although, to be fair, they're not doing badly at the moment, Munster. In terms of the overall rankings, in terms of the standings, they are about 6th at the moment. So they could finish 3rd for the overall year, but that will be a struggle. I'd say 4th is probably the more likely one, but they have to get a win here to be able to do so. Now, throwing it in nicely. Munster with this ball about 40 metres out from their line. Little chip in behind. There's 2 men chasing, waiting for the bounce, and it does go forward. Unfortunately, although Leinster have now managed to clean it up, and they will get a bit of a attack going themselves. McGrath back into the pocket to Sam Prendergast, looking for the 50-22. Got a decent angle. The bounce of the ball was steep. Gives Mike Haley time to get back and boot it downfield. That is a poor kick, although at least it's gone down the middle of the park. So buys a little bit more time. Chipped him behind, and that has gone straight back into the hands of Munster. I take that back. That was a worse kick from Jamie Osborne than it was from Mike Haley. Now, Billy Burns. He said no one does poor kicks but me, but he's got that one nicely. 22 metres out from the line, or at least it will be by the time this ball stops rolling around for Sam Prendergast. Now charging down the wing. He's been hit hard by Calvin Nash. 3 men get over the ball for Munster, and they win the penalty. Easter eggs are already in stores. Hardly digested Christmas. And also, who are the top 4 teams currently in the URC, says Xander? We will get that up for you. There you go. Currently, it is Leinster, who have won all of their games so far, undefeated throughout the URC competition. You've got Glasgow, who are second, who have only lost the 2 games. Then Cardiff, believe it or not, sitting in third. Although, I do, without taking anything away from Cardiff, I do think that the games that they've played so far have helped, boost them up a little bit. A lot of Welsh derbies taking place to Cardiff. Once they start playing the other sides, I do believe they'll drop a little bit more than it is the Bulls, the Sharks, Munster, Lions, and then also the Scarlets. And then we get to see Connacht versus Ulster. That game is taking place, I believe, tomorrow, and that will help boost one of those 2 sides possibly into the top 8, depending on how the match goes. But Gavin Coombs now in possession of the ball. Oh, inside ball, Calvin Nash running onto it nicely. I thought they actually missed the passing chance there. Now going short side, Coughlin goes across to Tadhg. He will be 10 metres out from the try line now for Munster. This is their best chance to score, I believe, of the day. And at least that's just because it's not a set piece, and the set piece seems to be going wrong for them at the moment. There's another advantage for offside. They can throw everything into this now. No, they'll go back. It'll be the original offside. Cardiff sickened the Dragons last night. And we have got there, well, Prendergast Islands next. Johnny Sexton, thoughts, Hamish? I mean, he's certainly got the potential to go far. It's just whether or not, for one, he can avoid the injuries and whatnot, but then also just handle that pressure of, when you're compared to a great player, it does make it very difficult because you always are trying to get out of that shadow, and sometimes that can make or break a player. So hopefully he goes well for a long time to come. The fact that he's so young and he already seems like he's so cool, calm, and collected under pressure in most circumstances is a massive bonus. 5 metres out from the line here for Munster, struggling to make those metres, but they're going to give it a crack now. They've been told to get their hands off it. Someone's scrum cap's been chucked away. Oh, massive shot coming in on Rory Scannell, flattened by Ringrose. Now Coughlin going short ball to Wickerley. He'll get that a little bit closer, still 5 metres out though. And there's another offside advantage going against Leinster. If they're not careful, they'll end up with a man in the bin very soon here. Now shifting it to the left, little grubber in behind. That was nicely done, but the ball's knocked on in the last moment, so they'll have to go back for another advantage for Munster. A town called Ipswich, in the east of England, says Spider Mick there. So yeah, hopefully you are enjoying it. A lot difference of the log between last year and this year at this stage, says Lilia B. That is a fantastic question that I do not actually know the answer to, Lily Bear. I'm sure if I look through my phone, I might be able to find it, but I'll probably have to scroll through about 3,000 photos, which we will do at halftime. And Munster coming up the gears, says Jimbo. Merry late Christmas, says Ollie. And also Cardiff were tipped to do something this year, says Fletcher. Well, they've got a pretty decent side overall, don't they? In terms of their setup. But now they're 5 metres out from the line. Is this going to be another advantage going against Leinster? Or have Leinster managed to turn this one over? It looks like they might have got this one. Round the side. No, Munster still have it. Just short of the line now. Coughlin going across. Very close for Thomas O'Hearn. Or Ahern, I should say. And the penalty again goes the way of Munster. And Leinster will go to the bin now. Right, where are we at? We're at 11th of December. In terms of my phone, I'm at the Champions Cup. We will find it eventually. Be back in a fortnight, says Spider Mick. 21 and a half minutes in at the moment. Tommy O'Brien will be the man who is sent to the bin. Now looking for the quick tap and go. 2 metres out from the line. Another pick and go here. Oh, Tadhg facing backwards. Tell you what, he's done well to get close to that, but he has been held up. Leinster are doing well at the moment. James Ryan equals yellow, says Neville. And we have got there Suffolk. And also Munster coming up the gears. The problem is, though, they've had a lot of attack and a huge amount of chances, but they haven't actually converted it into anything in terms of points on the board. See there, Tadhg, he ended up facing backwards and then trying to push his way over, which was very optimistic and almost in the nicest way possible, a bit of stupidity from the experienced head of Tyburn. If he had somehow got over for that, it would have been probably incredible. Right, we're slowly finding it right. The URC at this stage, the 17th of December. I'm a little bit too early. One moment, we're going to go to the next week. But we're in the right place in terms of being able to compare the table. On the 23rd, we got that too. Leinster were at the top of the bunch last year, I should mention, until Glasgow managed to get themselves a big win too. Right, I've got the table. Tell you what, I don't know how we've found that. But last year, oh, this is going to be hard to do. There we go. It's all backwards, so I'll just read it off to you. Glasgow were at the top of the bunch with 6 wins, 2 losses, so exactly what they were doing this year. While we're at it, we might as well bring up the table as well. So Glasgow have 2 more points than they had last year at this exact same time, and their points differential is a whole extra 48 ahead this year. Leinster were in second. They had 6 wins, 1 loss, but they did also have a game in hand. So they were on 29 points. Benetton were in third. They were sitting on 27. The Bulls were in fourth on 26 rather than the 25 that they have this year. The Sharks weren't even in the top 12. Instead, the Stormers, they were in 8th. Edinburgh, they were just a little bit higher up in 7th. And Cardiff were down in 12th on 15. So just pretty much the same. And then Munster, they were on 23 points at this stage last year with 4, 1 and 2 as their record. This year they are 4 and 4, so that's where those extra 2 points they haven't received. There you go. That's a little bit of insight, isn't it? Hello, Hamish. Cecia's going back to the Stormers. Sounds that way, doesn't it? Ringrose so underrated. Says Gary Miller and Porter in for Boyle, unlucky. Says Jimbo, and also a head injury assessment. Scannell going off the field, and that is going to be for the youngster Clark. Now, still in possession here for Munster, 23 minutes in, and there is another mistake this time coming from Munster, another knock on. And we have got there, it's an Irish thing, impatience in front of the try line. Sia is so awesome. Says Gary, and Sia needs to go back to the grazing patches of the mountain goats. Says Neville, and come on Leinster, says Spider Mech. I was just making sure that there wasn't another one beforehand. I got a haircut on the 27th of December last year, I do see. Oops, I don't know what I just did. I clicked a button, and I don't know if I broke it. I don't think I did. I think I need a haircut this year as well. Now, scrum feed. I see is good but overrated, says Neville. I think it depends on what you're talking. Like, if you're talking about international rugby, I think he's been one of the pillars for the South African side. Like, in terms of, like, some people don't look at that captaincy side of things as well, but in terms of since he became captain, you know, they've come a long way. And yes, that can also be down to the coaches and the other players around, but he still has to help lead them, and I feel like he does that extremely well in terms of being an ambassador for South African rugby. Any Stormers here? Says safe. Of course, we'll have a few more tomorrow with the Stormers in action up against the Sharks. Wait and see how that match will go. We've got another scrum reset. We've had a lot of those, like I mentioned, throughout this first 24 minutes. It does look like Jack Boyle will not be returning in this match. I'm a Shark supporter, but they struggled in the scrum last week, and I think this week will be no different. So here's a hunter, not a rugby player, a rolling stone, gathered no moss. And no just Sharks, says Tyrone. Now there's going to be another advantage coming at scrum time. Sam Prendergast going in behind, finding Jamie Osborne. They've really struggled to link up with the wings. Another drop ball. Eben Asia's on-field advisor, says Neville. Yeah, and that partnership, like, honestly, like, yes, you could have them individually, but together they are a lot stronger with Etzebeth and Khaleesi. Like, the amount of rugby that those two guys have played together, going up through the ranks, playing for different sides, it's very impressive. Yeah, we just see there. Oh, tell you what. The advantage went to Leinster, but it did actually look like Munster might have been the one who put the more pressure on him. It was just more of the fact that by putting that extra pressure, Leinster went down, but they went, oh, Munster's elbow is what will penalise. Now ready for this line out here. Nicely claimed. Josh Van den Flower goes across to Ronan Kelleher. Mentioned at the start of this game it was either going to be an extremely high-scoring one or a low-scoring, close kind of game. Does seem like we're getting more the second at the moment. Leinster always seem to struggle in the first half. Says Gary. And Porter down first, says Jimbo. Yeah, it did look like maybe Munster were a little bit hard done by. That was a terrible kick from Coughlin. Luckily for him, though, Leinster have knocked it on and he's got the knock-on advantage. Only 10 metres out from their line at the moment here, Munster. Looks like he will now be looking for the clearing kick. Advantage is over. Nice chase here for Munster, letting it bounce. A bit of a risky one, but not the first time that it has happened today. McGrath, the lone try scorer throughout this whole contest at this point. Now going off to the right-hand side, Joe McCarthy. Sitting 40 metres out from the line here, Leinster. That didn't actually look like Caelan Doris wanted it. It looked like he was controlling traffic. Trying to get all of his teammates in the right place. Josh Brendan-Flair with a nice offload to McGrath. Now finds Porter. Referee's trying to make the tackle. That didn't work. And McGrath. Back across to the left-hand side. Doris gets it away to Beard. He's had a relatively quiet game so far, but he has been working hard. McGrath again trying to milk the penalty. Referee says no, get out of it. Kelleher moves up to 22 metres out from the line. Oh, asking for a penalty again there, McGrath. He'd be better off just scoring tries. Josh Brendan-Flair. Off to the right-hand side, Sam Prendergast with a short ball to Porter, who made his way onto the field for Jack Boyle not too long ago. Still another 4 minutes remaining of that Leinster yellow card. So playing with 14, Sam Prendergast kicks it in behind, playing territory. He felt the attack wasn't going anywhere. And Leinster pod's too static, says Jimbo. Yeah, there's been a lot of standing starts, it seems. Like normally they are known for that quick backline. Maybe because they've got 14 on the field, they're being a little bit more, I guess, complacent and not willing to take so many risks as they normally would because they've got less cover at the back. Now another line out throw here, not for Scannell, but instead for Barron. Made his way on for the HIA. We had a little patch how everyone got injured at the exact same time. Now Coughlin under a lot of pressure. Leinster force him back into, I believe, yes they do. They hold him up over the line, so it will be a 5 metre scrum for Leinster. It's going to be hard work to get it out from the yellow card ref, says Spider Meek. Yeah, earlier on there was the yellow card for Tommy O'Brien. Other than that, though, that is the only card that we've seen. Still 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Or sorry, a little bit longer than that, in fact. Still another 13 minutes or so remaining. Tap on the head of Josh Brendan-Flair. Okay, referee once again just having a discussion at scrum time. I think that's going to be the big talking point of this game, maybe, is just how many scrums we're going to see and how, in the nicest way possible, inconsistent it's been. 2 minutes left of that yellow card. Needs to still have plenty of backs out there on the park, though. They will be willing to use this one out the back line with Robbie Henshaw as the second receiver. They've got Prendergast directed pretty much straight behind the scrum. And Munster, they have already conceded a soft try, leaving a massive gap for McGrath. And that's gone down again. And we got another scrum reset. It is enjoyable. 1 try so far in this match. 3 more for Leinster. We'll give them the bonus point. Mentioned about it last year. They were a little bit lower on the table than they are this year. Glasgow in first at this stage. Yeah, just going straight down. Was that Andrew Porter going down again? As if it was. He's been quite lucky so far in terms of the decisions. Tackles made 69 for Leinster so far throughout this match. 24 for Munster. Both sides missing 6 tackles. Linesman should be pinging Porter. Jaeger bending him, says Jimbo. And Mull try incoming, says Gary Miller. Right, that ball's gone in for the scrum. Big push coming from Leinster. They've got themselves another penalty advantage. Doris goes off to McGrath. Munster making sure they shut him down this time. Now around the side, Josh Brendan-Flair. He'll be within a medal. Oh, that's bad from Gavin Coombs. That's almost a yellow card infringement. Referee said get out of it. Gavin Coombs went, well, he's already on the ground and we've got an advantage against us. I'll just rip it out of his hands and push it to the side. So probably very lucky for Coombs. The fact that it's just gone back for the penalty, also very strategic. You're not cheating, you're not trying. He's down there. The referee says, get out of it. And Kevin Coombs says, I'll just strip it out of his hands. He doesn't need it anymore. Looks like they are going to go for the 5-metre quick tap here for Leinster. Push over try, says Spider Meek and linesman. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Now getting very close to the line, Kelleher. Josh Van Flair, cross, skip past Doris. They're within a metre now, Leinster. Looks like calling for the big forwards. Joe McCarthy, is he going to have a crack? I can't imagine he will pass this ball. Oh, he's just knocked it on, has he? I think that Munster felt he did. TMO will be checking it as we speak. Now around the side, Porter is... Oh, he's just short of the try line. Josh Van Flair now. He'll have another go. He's pushed that ball back just a little bit more. This is getting very scrappy in this breakdown, but it's popped out on the side of Caelan Doris, who's been turned onto his back again. This great goal line defence from Munster. A little bit 50-50. Here comes Sam Prendergast. Goes through the middle and scores the try for Leinster. A push over try, says Spider Meek there, but 32 minutes in and now it's going to be another try going the way of Leinster. Sam Prendergast just saw the massive gap. Munster was scrambling next to their breakdown and pushes it out wide and does score the try. It just looks like a day that maybe the backs will find more success than the forwards. Yes, the forwards have been within a metre for a very long time there, but no one was quite able to push their way over. Whereas in this case, Sam Prendergast just sees the gap, goes through. Daly was running sideways. I think it was Scannell as well. Just got caught running the wrong way. And Prendergast goes through. Yay, try. Says Spider Meek and Leinster 10 to 12 traditional play. Says Jimbo. Yeah, maybe something that they haven't tried to use enough throughout this game. They have got the class backline to do so, but they've been a little bit hesitant. And way to go, Prendergast. Let's go, Leinster. Says Gary Miller. Now, shot clock's only got 18 seconds, but Prendergast does quickly kick that one over. Now making the score 14-0 in favour of Leinster. So, yeah, not the greatest start to the match for Munster just at this point. They do have to improve, and they have to really score before the end of this first half, or else they will be under huge pressure going into the second 40. They had the man advantage, but they just can't get over that Leinster goal line, and maybe that is because of the about 90% tackling completion that we're seeing from Leinster, as opposed to about 75% for Munster. Slimani hits it up, well defended, inside of the 22 at the moment for Leinster. McGrath sends it back into the pocket, this time going to Jamie Osborne. As that Barrett guy playing Hemi, he is not. No Geordie Barrett for this game, and also no Arias Neyman either. So, two men that they have decided to leave out for this derby. 34 minutes in at the moment, and Leinster now only 2 tries away from that bonus point. Chance for Clark to throw this ball in. 5.5 minutes remaining in the first 40. They need a try here soon, Munster, or else they could find themselves completely chasing this game and destroying their points differential, which they've worked very hard already this year to try and get into a good position. Only takes one hiding to change it completely. McGrath. Back across to the right-hand side. To Doris. Leinster back to the full 15 now. Kick downfield from Sam Prendergast, trying a bit of a torpedo punt. And both rotated out as soon as Crowley was. Or as soon as Crowley was. Says Jimbo. Now 40 metres out from the line. Inside ball. A little bit of a risky one, but great hands from Ollie Jaeger. Chance for Leinster to try and get that turnover in the breakdown with Porter, but he can't quite get it done. Gavin Coombs now tackled on the halfway line. He hasn't quite found his stride throughout this game as of yet. That's just cynical from Kelleher, flopping over the breakdown, trying to slow it down. Any little tactic that they can use in this game to keep from being smooth. That's a counter right coming from Leinster, and they're being penalised for it. Crawling along the ground. And penalty goes the way of Munster. Ryan Beard not happy with it, sticks his hand up and apologises. I have my ticket ready for tomorrow's Stormers versus Sharks game, but I must attend to my work first. I will finish work 1 hour before kickoff. Ooh, how far away do you live from the ground? Do you think you'll get there in time for the game? Hopefully you are able to catch a majority of it if you don't get the very first whistle. Kick downfield from Mike Haley. Nicely taken by Sam Prendergast again inside of his 22. Again, we'll go for that torpedo, and that is a much better connection. And that is a good kick downfield. I think Munster were trying to say he took it back, but always inside of the 22. I've said there that Prendergast, he could have risked a little bit of accuracy by going for the torpedo, but it has got him a great deal of distance on it. And the Stormers vs Sharks game is on free-to-air TV in Ireland tomorrow. So here's Richard. Nice. So hopefully that is a trend that they do end up continuing. 3.5 minutes left. Do see actually Niall Scannell has made his way back onto the field. So did pass his HIA. Overthrown line out, cleaned up by Ronan Killahar. Looked like there might have been a slight knock on the ground. Now Joe McCarthy. Oh, okay. Munster have collapsed over that breakdown as well. Luke McGrath going to Porter. Now Prendergast down behind. Ringrose hangs on to it. Finds a bit of a gap. It was wrestled down by Billy Burns. Oh, McGrath's knocked that one backwards. Plays it on the ground. So that is a penalty. Yes, referee has picked it up. So originally he was fine, but because he had then dropped that ball and then was on his legs, like on the knees, I should say, it does become playing the ball on the ground after it's kicked by Munster. Not all games are, but most South African versus South African games are on free-to-air in Ireland. And Prendergast needs some advice from Cameron Smith on those grubbers, says Gary. It's about a 30-minute walk from work, so I should make it in time, says Justin. Yeah, so hopefully you do enjoy it. It looks like it's going to be a great match. The Stormers and the Sharks at different stages of their season, I would say. We've seen some good form from the Sharks. The Stormers have still been very up and down with the way that they've been playing. Nice attack and run forward from Munster. We'll mention we are covering that game on the channel as well. It is a 6 p.m, I believe, kickoff for you guys in South Africa. A 4 a.m. start for us here in New Zealand. Ollie Jaeger now. 35 metres out from the line. Munster need a try, and they need it very soon. Sharks start with 15 against 14 advantage. Lebok is playing. Go the Stormers are a way to win that game, says Spider-Mick, and Jay says Jack. Now, sitting in the middle of the field, Osborne will kick this one downfield. That didn't look like he connected as nicely as he would have liked. Now gives it back to Calvin Nash, who I think almost got a worse connection. Robbie Henshaw down to Prendergast. Again, we'll go for the torpedo. And it does a bounce into touch. Good touch finder from the Leinster 10. And Stormers vs Sharks game is at 3 p.m. here in Ireland. Says Richard. And all to most rugby games in South Africa broadcast on satellite TV, says Justin. The 1 minute remaining in this first half now. We're going to see a late burst from Munster, or will they go in 14 down? Munster are outclassed, says Kevin. Yeah, they've just been making crucial errors, haven't they? In terms of that 5 metre rolling maul, that they let it sit in there a little bit too long. Yeah, the referee's, I think, kicking the water boys off the field. He's saying you've got a minute till half time. Just wait. Now line out throw now again for Niall Scannell. We've seen 3 lost lineouts from Munster, but they have won 8 throughout today. They've just lost another one. That is now only sitting at a 66% chance that they will retain their own lineout. McGrath goes off to Porter. I think Leinster might still have the attacking mindset. Oh, that was almost a juggle from James Ryan. Referee says it's gone backwards, so will we play on? Yeah, I think they might have the mentality of trying to score one more try before the end of this first half. They've got 10 seconds. They're on the halfway line, so they've got plenty of room to work with. Or will they just decide to boot it into touch? Caelan Norris. I'm moving to only about 45 metres out. I'll be disappointed if they put this ball into touch. I feel like they've had a decent enough attack. Go on now, kicked high from Sam Prendergast. I don't necessarily know if that was the move to go with. The ball is now going to be loose. And there was a knock on. That will end the half, sitting 14 points to 0 in favour of Leinster. So pretty much how most expected this first half to go. Munster have no 10, no leader, no direction. Burns is a poor cover for Crowley. Says Jimbo. And yeah, some of the tackling stats so far that we've seen throughout this half as well have been showing exactly why Leinster are leading. They haven't missed a huge amount of tackles. Munster, their goal line defence at times has been very strong when it comes to those forwards, but then also they've leaked 2 little tries that have made all the difference. 14-0, how we sit with 40 to go. But that first half went pretty quick. Overall, I think it only took about 51 minutes to play the 40, which honestly isn't too bad for rugby nowadays. We will get some stats to do with that first half and see exactly what else we can pick up on. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back tomorrow for the game between the Sharks and the Stormers. Should be a very entertaining one. One moment, we will go like this. We will go like that as well. There we go. We're into the match centre. Hey, Hamish, I guess how everyone not happy about playing England-Ireland team. England-Ireland team? Like, in terms of the Champions Cup, I assume you're saying, Brandon. Thoughts on the Six Nations? In what regard? Like, whether I like the competition or just... like, that's a very broad question. Thoughts on the Six Nations? I like it. More rugby. So that's good. Entertaining rugby. Some people disagree, but I like the way that the Six Nations plays. 2 tries so far from Leinster. Possession is 51% in favour of Munster. Believe it or not, they've beaten 8 defenders compared to the 11 of their opposition Leinster. 3 clean breaks for Leinster compared to the 1 of Munster. And then also in terms of the tackles... we've seen an 89% tackling accuracy from Leinster compared to 81% for Munster. Intermission time for coffee, says Spider-Mech. Territory is also 55% in favour of Munster. So overall stats-wise, with the exception of clean breaks and defenders beaten, they're not awful in this game. Penalties conceded 8 against Leinster. They've only received that 1 yellow card so far, but they might not be a mile off receiving another. They do keep on infringing. Put like this, so everyone not happy because they're losing lot. Here's Brandon Game. Yeah, although they're doing all right in the URC. Like, it's one of those interesting situations that I think they weren't expecting the workload that European rugby does bring. But then, like, when you look at some of those French sides, you know, they're playing each and every week, and then they're also playing in the Champions Cup, doing relatively well, depending on who the sides are. So... like, yeah, I think it was just the adjustment of learning that it's more than just about 15 or 17 games a season. You're playing the URC all throughout, then you got the Champions Cup as well, which was a part of the original deal with them heading north because they were in the URC. So, you know, it's just about, like, rotating the squad in a way that you can get the best of both worlds. Thoughts on Six Nations rebranding it? Looks awful. Says Blession, yeah, the rebrand is a bit weird. Like, the orange... I think they put an orange M, didn't they, for the Six Nations logo? We'll have a quick look. I'll be honest, yeah, like it's an M6N. So, yeah, I'm not sure about that. But I'm just going to have the old Six Nations logo for the thumbnails. I'm not going to switch it because the new one doesn't look any better. And also, people just don't know that means the Six Nations. Definitely no Six Nations Grand Slam this time, says Jimbo. Yeah, it's going to be quite competitive, the Six Nations, this year, which is great to see. There's probably about, honestly, 4 teams, if not, well, I was going to say if not 5, but I think saying 5 would be a bit generous. So, like, yeah, 4 teams at the moment that have got a decent chance of winning it. And Munster making some very amateurish mistakes, says Claude Squid. Yeah, like, they just should have been able to score by now. Even someone like a Tyke Byrne, like I said, got turned to his back and decided instead of just putting the ball down, he'd try and drive over and hope that somehow in the process of being forced backwards, he'd be able to do a nice 180 spin, put the ball down without any sort of, I guess, objection from Leinster, which unfortunately did not work and it wasn't even close. So, like, when your experienced guys are also making poor decisions, it doesn't help. But they've just lacked a little bit of go forward at times as well, Munster. Like, we haven't seen a huge amount of this back line. Tom Farrell, I can't remember too many times that he's touched the ball. Even Rory Scannell on the inside, I think he's only had the ball maybe once or twice throughout this match so far. So they definitely need to use their backs a little bit more, who looked forward for France tour up against New Zealand as 3 tests. Why don't we see 3 tests all the time? Says Brandon. Honestly, I'm not really too sure. Like, I think that for July internationals and whatnot, it should be 3 tests. But then I understand why they're also playing 2 and then trying to give some other lower nation a bit of a chance to play a top side. But I also do think you can still do that with the amount of weeks that you have in July. You can get away with another game afterwards or early, like we saw the June warm-up game for certain teams. Don't count Wales and Italy out. They might surprise us, says Lilia B. Yeah, out of those 2 sides, Italy were the ones that I was a bit like maybe they can do something. But I just do think as well that when it comes to the big stage of the Six Nations, sometimes Italy don't quite find that rhythm. Like, all it takes is one away loss for Italy and their confidence is gone for pretty much the whole competition. So, like, I'd like to see them do well. I just don't know if they will. You know, like, I'll have a quick look at the setup in terms of when the games are taking place. 34 days, 23 hours away, fun fact, from the first Six Nations game. That'll be France versus Wales. See, Scotland at Murrayfield up against the Italians round number 1. That straight away, I believe, will take someone out of the Six Nations competition. Italy shouldn't win that game, but if they somehow beat Scotland, then that's their chances completely gone. Ireland versus England at the Aviva. I don't think a loss for England would actually completely take them out of the running for the Six Nations, as they've got a couple important games that they'll be playing at home, up against France the week after, and then also they've got Scotland at home as well. Should Munster play crash ball or maybe just kick? What is Leinster's weakness? Says Xander. At the moment, honestly, their weakness is their discipline. So, like, in a way, it sounds basic, but Munster just have to hang on to the ball long enough for Leinster to do something stupid. And then they get themselves yellow carded. But the problem is, we saw that they had a yellow card in that first half for 10 minutes, but Munster didn't get any points from it. So it's all well and good getting the opposition down a man, but if you're not actually scoring anything while they're down, you know, you're going to struggle. But eventually, I do think that Munster will be able to get through it. It's just they can't at the moment. They have to find some sort of cohesion and eventually just put that Leinster side under pressure. I think a lot of their attack was pretty obvious what they were going to try and do. Ireland versus France will be a big one, and maybe France versus England. Yeah, a couple big matches coming in the Six Nations. We are hoping to cover a majority of those games. I don't think there'll be too many that we missed this year. I can't actually remember how many we missed last year either. I don't think we missed a huge amount of them. Maybe only like 2. Something like that. Currently second half, not too far away, ladies and gents. Currently 9:30 a.m. New Zealand time, and I think we said the half took 51 minutes, which means we've probably got another 5 minutes or so of the halftime break. Looking through at the benches for these 2 sides. For Munster, they don't actually have Barron as that number 16. I believe there was a change, and it's Clark who is there at 16, as he was on the field earlier on. Ryan and Ryan as the 2 in the propping jerseys. Gleeson, Hodnett, Patterson, Butler, and also O'Connor, the last man off the Munster bench. For Leinster, they have got Barron, Andrew Porter, who made his way on relatively early due to the injury that we saw of Jack Boyle, Cian Healy at number 18, then Deeney, Scott Penny, Gunn, Byrne, and Lama. So I do think that Leinster have got the stronger bench, definitely in terms of those backs. Having a bit more experience there could make all the difference. But these are the 3 previous fixtures for these 2 sides. As you can see there, Munster getting themselves a big win over Stade Francais in the Champions Cup, losing by 2 points up against Castres, and then also winning by 3 up against Ulster. So 2 of their last 3 games have been within 7, in fact within 5, and the other game was domination by this Munster team, whereas Leinster, they have not had a game within 5, within 7 in fact, throughout their last 3 games, beating Bristol 35 points to 12, beating Clermont by 8, and then also beating Connacht by 8 in last week's game. So if that's anything to judge by, I would say that Munster, maybe if they can get themselves back on the board, or on the board in general, early on in the second half, it will be a good start, but then maybe Leinster will run away with it in those final moments. But this is the way that the table currently sits. Leinster doing a lot better than they were last year at the same point of the competition. Glasgow, they are sitting on around the same points, but they're actually only in second rather than in first for this year. And then Cardiff, they were in about 13th, I believe I said, last year. At this stage, they are sitting in third in the overall standings. Munster, they were 6th as well. Bulls were in 4th, so some things staying very similar. Ulster in 11th, they were actually up there in about 5th last year at the same point. So some good, some bad for certain teams. Hi, Hamish, says Jan Brand. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Munster not getting Haley into the game either by With or Highball versus Osborne. And how will Super Rugby work this year without the Rebels? Someone will get a bye, I think is the easiest way of describing it. They haven't decided to replace them. They're just going to run it without the Rebels involved, which, it might be all right. And I do actually think having a bye week for teams isn't the worst thing in the world. Super Rugby, it's pretty intense in terms of week in, week out that they're playing over and over. And the amount of injuries we saw last year, hopefully one bye week might help a couple players, but honestly, it's still going to be a pretty injury-ridden competition. They are playing Zombie again at the ground, flashing the lights at Thorpeman Park. 14 minutes remaining of 2024 for these two sides. Leinster, they have remained undefeated throughout this year's URC competition, but is Munster somehow going to be able to come back and get themselves back into this contest? Looks like Prendergast has made his way onto the field alongside Leinster. I think we're awaiting Munster to make their way out. They are in a huddle in the changing sheds at the moment. They would have had a long halftime chat about everything that they did wrong, which is why they are still in the shed. And brother, I'm happy that you're happy that you think that Scotland will beat Ireland. Strangely, it seems that the two main nations want Ireland to lose every time they play are Scots and the Kiwis. I'm happy that you're happy that you think Scotland will beat Ireland. I'm not sure when I said that. In fact, I think I never even mentioned that game from what I'm saying. I said Scotland would beat Italy. Yes, they do start with I, but slightly different name. But, yeah, I don't think there was any mention of Scotland versus Ireland. In fact, they are playing in round 2, aren't they? They are playing at home for the Scottish, so a couple nice home games for them before they head over to England. But, yeah, I think that they're going to be competitive this year, Scotland, which is great news because, at the end of the day, if there are 4 sides that all have a chance of winning, that makes for a lot better competition than just one side dominating and getting a Grand Slam. Yes, Grand Slams are nice for the team who get them, but everyone else don't really get to enjoy the competition as much. But the second half, 2 more tries for Leinster would get them the bonus point, and I think bonus points will be crucial in that Six Nations competition with how close it is. But now, Munster kicking this one off. Billy Burns, he needs to do something in this second half. It's going to be knocked on straight away by Leinster. So Munster in possession and they've dropped that ball, but it's going to be picked up nicely. Hamish, how was your Christmas? And I'm sorry I didn't say Happy Christmas, but I hope you have a Happy Christmas and a New Year. Same to you, Brandon. But yeah, it was good overall. Very quiet, chilled out. Now there's going to be the knock-on going against Leinster. I think that time it's against Joe McCarthy. So we are straight back into the scrum side of things in this match. Munster chose to play Crowley last week versus Ulster and rest protocol him tonight. Kind of conceding a loss tonight, says Jimbo. Yeah, although, in a way though, right, yes, if he had to have some sort of rest protocol and he was only able to play 1 game, would you argue that they've made the right decision just because they did beat Ulster last week and it was such a thin margin? That maybe if they hadn't played him in that game, they could have lost that, and then there were no guarantees heading into this game that they were going to be competitive up against an undefeated Leinster. So, penalty goes the way of Munster, I should say. I'm so used to seeing those scrum penalties going in favour of Leinster. Andrew Porter giving the referee a bit of a side eye there. Wasn't happy about it. He could have had 3 against him already, so he should be pretty happy. But now, Billy Burns getting ready to kick this one for the corner. And does get it into touch, about 5 metres out. This is a great chance for Munster. They need this if they want any chance of being able to win this game. Leinster's rolling maul is extremely strong. See, in that case, the referee, I think the ref looks at whoever wins the scrum in terms of that battle of the positions and then just gives it to the other guy. And Yaga dominant versus Porter, says Jimbo. Please tell me you spend time with loved one not editing video. Well, I haven't edited any videos for a couple days, but yeah, I'm sure my parents are sick of me. Been around the house a lot. Haven't been out on the golf course in the last few days yet, though, so still got to do that, I'd say. Now, little flick out the back door. Mike Haley, 10 metres out from the line. Oh, that's a big shot coming in. They still have the penalty advantage. Man, Leinster have played a lot of this game under penalty advantage. But it's only cost them 1 yellow card at this point. Gavin Coombs handing it up again, now going to the short side. Trying to find his way through, and they'll go back for another penalty. Changing the bind. Okay, Josh Van and Flair changing his bind, and that is what the penalty is for. Here we go. Now Coughlin. What's the idea here for Munster? Do you just take a 3 just to say we've got some points on the board, or do you just keep on hoping that eventually you can get through? I think they are going to go for or at least they thought about the corner. And pin for swimming, but surely ball was out, says Jimbo. Right, looks like it's going to be a quick tap here. Who's it going to be that they throw at the line? It looks like Niall Scannell will take the quick tap. Oh, and Leinster offside. No, referee's going to say, sorry, they got themselves offside, so we'll go back. Right, Munster have just been told, don't pretend to tap it. Is that a thing? Are you not allowed to act like you're going to... He did it again. They rushed up anyway, whether he dummied it or not. And now that's going to be a drop ball for Munster. It's like saying you're not allowed to do a dummy pass. You know, don't fool the opposition with acting like you're going to pass it when you don't. Now 10 metres out from the line. They've got another advantage for round the side. This has to be close to a yellow, doesn't it? 10 metres, or in fact less than that from their own line here, Leinster. They're just giving out penalties like their presents at Christmas. And Joe McCarthy, that's about his 3rd in a row against him. Right. No last warning, I don't think. 11 penalties against the 3 of Munster. I've always wondered if the refs also get talking to at halftime. They probably talk to each other and maybe, you know, discuss what went well, what didn't. Like, I don't actually know the system. I know for the World Cup, like, the referees would get a bit of feedback about their performances and they'd get a rating from, like, the rugby board and they'd decide who were the best refs for the job moving forward. If you haven't seen it, Whistleblowers is actually an interesting documentary. I watched it on the way back from Australia because they had it on the plane for some reason, and I was like, oh, well, might as well. And, yeah, it was interesting seeing the process that they have in terms of they put a big cross through the refs' faces who have a bad game. But at times you'd think that would be most. That's going to be another advantage. McCarthy spent all day going in through the side. But he's offside too. Right, they've got over the line. Thomas Ahern has scored it. Leinster have to be on the verge of another yellow. And Munster have finally scored the try. But I don't think this ill-discipline has been as poor as it is here for Leinster throughout this whole season so far. They just keep on getting themselves. In fact, the other game that it was like that was up against Bristol in the Champions Cup. They just seem to love giving away that advantage and putting themselves under pressure. That is a great finish from Thomas Ahern. He's got big, long arms. Manages to stretch out. Most men would have been short by about 6 inches. But slides over with momentum there. Yellow coming, says Jimbo, who is Leinster's defensive coach. I can't remember off the top of my head who the defence coach is. McCarthy is like a child at Christmas. Is there a TMO? Goodness, so many penalties, says Lilia B. Yeah, at the moment, they're hurting themselves, Leinster, in the second half. And it's actually the complete opposite of what we saw in the first half, which was when pretty much the mistakes were all coming from Munster on attack. Oh, it's pure silence at the ground for Billy Burns to line up this kick. And he has got it over, making the score now 14 points to 7. Now, this is exactly what Munster needed, and I don't think Leinster can afford to be only 10 metres out from their line again, or else they have to go to the bin. I'm not too sure what the tactic is. The tactic is definitely to try and disrupt that Munster breakdown, but they have to do it in a way that's slightly legal. I can't even watch the match in Ireland on TG4. The cane is zooming in and out all over the place. Is this an Irish thing? Says David. Maybe. I'll be honest, I hadn't really noticed the difference in, like, the comment, or not the commentary, but the viewing. But now that you've mentioned it, probably a little bit of extra. Oh, that's a knock on there from Jamie Osborne. Munster back in positions. Greeting Hamish and chat, watching in Ecuador and cheering on Munster. May not be able to stay for the full stream, heading out to the in-laws soon. So yeah, there's mountains in there, so hopefully you have enjoyed your Christmas in Ecuador. Now, the Munster chant going around the ground. The advantage is now over. Going to be kicked high. There was a lot of pushing and shoving going on off the ball there between the two sides. As that one does land, McGrath has picked up position. Thanks, and keep up the good work, says David. Thank you very much. Isn't it former South African coach Jackson the neighbour? I'm not sure. He might be the defence coach. I know he's in the coaching box, but yeah, I don't know what his actual role is. I thought he was assistant coach, but I could be wrong there. It's going to be, knocked on, and that would have hurt the windpipe of Jimmy O'Brien. All the air sucked out of him. Now back across. That's a big shot coming in on Coughlin. That's an even bigger shot coming in on Mike Haley. But Leinster rushing up, putting in the big hits, but they haven't actually managed to shut down this move yet. Nice attack and run from Shayna Daly around the side of the breakdown. The tackle made. Ooh, that was close to the turnover going for Josh Van den Flair. Already 48 minutes through. Now rolling this one back. It's going to be Coughlin again. This one might be a bit of a contestable one. It's knocked back by Daly. So Munster slowly just building their way up the field. We're into that danger zone. 40 metres out from Leinster's line. Is there going to be some sort of infringement here? Seems to only be a matter of time. That was forward by Munster. Yes, it was. And they'll go back now for the scrum. Oh, a little bit of push and shove there between Sam Prendergast and one of the Munster players. I think it might have been the winger. Oh, Prendergast grabbing Gavin Coombs. McCarthy's getting in there. McCarthy wants to be involved in everything, it would seem. But he hasn't actually done a lot right today either. Yet we've seen him so much. Right, sounds like there is an injury at the moment as well. We're going to see it here. Yeah, good low tackle made. It was just a forward pass from Shane Daly. I don't think Billy Burns actually went for that ball. That looks like he took Jimmy O'Brien out. And then a massive shot from Ringrose. He's just decided to be a battering ram today. Jackson Abar is the senior defence coach. Says Lily B, more high balls, Munster better under them. Amherst offsides McCarthy. Says Gary. So it's going to be the scrum now for Leinster. There's a few deep breaths being taken out there on the field. That little passage of play was played at quite a quick tempo. Now the scrum. This will be a nice rest for the forwards. I think in about 10 seconds, both sides are going to be throwing themselves at each other again. In fact, no, make that 30 because we'll probably have a scrum reset beforehand. If the trend of the match does continue. Right. It's been called to set. Tell you what, we've had a good scrum. It's stayed up. It's been solid. And the referee, I don't think, gave an advantage to Leinster in the end. I think he just decided to play on. A nice step from Jamie Osborne. Good acceleration off the mark. Puts the ball on the inside. That's going to be knocked on now by Jimmy O'Brien. And we're going to go back for another scrum. I think they're trying to say that they had the advantage, but the ref never actually called it. I don't think they can argue a knock on, as Jimmy O'Brien has knocked it straight into the head of the Munster player. We do see another change being made. This time it's going to be Coughlin going off Paddy Patterson. Very Irish name. Coming onto the field as a replacement, 21. Prendergast squaring up to Coombs. Says Jimbo. Now, scrum feed. Oh, ex-Leinster Academy player, they've just said about Paddy Patterson. Now, Ollie Jaeger up against Andrew Porter. That has been the battle of the scrums, except it's been a very hard one to judge who's actually, well, I think that Jaeger's winning it, but he's had less penalties in his favour. The subs on yet, quite a few have been made, but not all of them for either side as of yet. While Munster getting points finally, says Xander. Right, ball is about to be fed in. Nicely done. Massive push there, though, from Leinster, bulldozing them over backwards, and that will be the penalty going the way of the dark blue, or the royal blue as it's called, of this Leinster team. But now, what do Leinster do from here? I think they have to kick for the corner. To be honest, I don't think you can afford to not go for it. And they get it into touch. Right, so they need 2 more tries to be able to get themselves a bonus point from this game. And that would create a little bit more separation between them and second place. There's a pretty rough one for Paddy Patterson to come into the game and already have pretty much all the responsibility of grabbing that ball at the back of a scrum. It's going backwards very quickly. Right, a few more changes being made. Healy onto the field for Slimani. Gunn onto the field for McGrath. Those are 2 subs that Leinster have made. And now Gunn already getting himself a touch of the ball. Doris goes off to Ryan Beard. They're closing in on another try here for Leinster. One more might just be the difference maker. That's a good counter-ruck coming from Munster. I think 1 or 2 of their players left their feet. Oh, it's popped up for Josh Van den Flair, and he will score it. And that is now going to be another one going the way of Leinster. Just an easy mistake made by Munster. Pretty similar to what we saw for the first try of the match. Subs making the difference in the scrum. Not a huge amount, I wouldn't say. I think it's just as this game's worn on a little bit that they've got a little bit more tired. I don't know how that ball popped out the way that it did from that Munster. That's playing the ball on the ground from Caelan Doris, I think. If Munster have already counter-rucked over him and he throws the ball up from there, that would be the equivalent of not releasing, wouldn't it? The fact that he still had the ability to pass that ball, it should have been a penalty, I believe, but are they going to check it? I don't think they are. So it's going to be 21 points to 7, a bit of a gift there for Leinster. Yeah, I'm not sure what the ref just said there, but yeah, I would have thought that they would at least have a look at that one. Because, like, if you're going to have a whole counter-ruck over the top of you, and then the guy who's on the ground throws the ball to his teammate, I feel like that's a pretty obvious one. But we're seeing a change now. John Ryan onto the field for Ollie Jaeger. Pen, that's terrible refereeing, says Jimbo. Now Sam Prendergast going to be kicking this one down the middle of the field. Now Calvin Nash. I think the worst thing about it for Munster as well is the fact that it just, because they had counter-rucked, they were almost in a position getting ready to attack, so they just had no one ready to defend around the side of that breakdown. So perfect chance for Van den Flair to go straight through. Hi, all and Hamish. I just got home. You good today? So here's Robert doing very well. Another knock on coming this time from Thomas Ahern. And we're going to see another scrum. He's not tackled, so he's allowed to chuck the ball, says Spider Meek. Normally you are, but you'd also have to say that the ruck was set, because you've seen, like, there was already Leinster on it, then the counter-ruck came from Munster to push over the top of it. So normally at that stage, you've gone from, like, I guess being just not tackled, like he is already tackled because of the rolling maul, or not the rolling maul, the ruck had been set, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's one of those ones that obviously it can be interpreted differently. Again, I ask, is there a TMO? I don't think so for this game. We haven't seen one used as of yet. And hey, Robert, says Jimbo. Now 25 minutes remaining. And Munster, if they want any chance of winning this game, they have to get back into this one pretty soon. So we'll be in a little bit of trouble. Now looking for this big scrum again. Too much movement. We will go back for another scrum reset. Only one more try for Leinster and they will get themselves the full 5 available in this game. Munster, they need another try to get within 7. It would give them their own point too. Okay, Rory Scannell just having a little bit of a chat. Oh, sorry, not Rory Scannell. Old mate Niall Scannell, I should say. Will be there. Hey, Jimbo, says Robert V. Now, feeding this one in, it will be the youngster Gun. Would you put money on Munster coming from behind and winning this game? No. No, I think that, like, if that last try is anything to go by, they have no chance. Like, and it sounds bad, but, you know, if the little 50-50s are in no ways going in their favour, they can't win this game. Unless they got this one man, says DZ, yeah. They've got too much of a lead now, Leinster. And also, like, as many penalties as they've given away, they still haven't conceded much throughout this game, Leinster. The defence has still been strong enough to stop this Munster team. So, penalty's actually going to be reversed for a croc roll and go in favour of Munster. Just as I said, a few of the 50-50s didn't seem to be going in their favour. They get one back. So that must have been from the TMO, I guess, who got involved for that one. We're going to see it here, just a neck roll, or croc roll, I should say, from Robbie Henshaw. Hey, Spider, says Robert there too. A line-out chance here for Munster. Just going to see the replay again here. Yeah, it definitely was one. John Hodnett managed to get out of it relatively unscathed. They're going to be nicely thrown in. Munster in possession now. Back across to the left. They need another try if they want to keep this game close. RTMO is Mike Adamson of Scotland. Says Neville, and round his chest lol. Says Jimbo. Yeah, I think they still consider pulling the weight to the side as the big no-no for that one. Finally, Timo actually doing his job. Says Lilia B. Now going off to the left-hand side here. Nice passing, kind of. It had potential for Munster, but then they just ended up hesitating when they got it out the back line. Scannell again. Tackled well. 40 metres out from the line. Billy Burns manages to spin and almost make his way through. Back across. All Munster need to do is get into the Irish attacking zone, or the Leinster 22. But another knock on. Right, they've got the option of a scrum or a line out. I think they'll go for the scrum. They've shown a lot of dominance in the scrums in the second half. Just a poor pass from Munster. Just that last one at the moment that seems to be going wrong. Time is off at the moment. TMO as a Leinster support. Hello, says Spider Mick. It's like a bit of an injury here for Niall Scannell. Just getting his jaw realigned, it looks like. Very unlike Hodnett, says Jimbo. Was he the one who did the pass or the one who dropped the ball? Because to be fair, if he dropped the ball, it was a shocking pass. Like, it was around his bootlaces, if not a little bit lower. So I can understand why he dropped it. But if he threw the pass, then yeah, not his best work. 21 minutes to go, and we have got ourselves another scrum. They have been the forefront of this game. In fact, can we get a stat for scrums, perhaps? See what we can find in terms of those numbers, because there have been a lot. Although I should also say that a lot of them have been like resets. as well. So that has been a bit of a factor in it. But attack, defence. Okay, no, we haven't got a scrum stat. But 15 tackles made by Caelan Doris compared to the 11 of Gavin Coombs. They've had 26 between them in this match. We'll go like this and we go like that. There we go. Right, we're back into it. Gunn will be feeding this one. Still another 20 minutes left on the clock, so plenty of time for something to happen for these two teams. They're being told to use it. Too much movement, another scrum reset. Munster disappointed as they've actually ended up picking up the ball from the back. Right, they've said it was the same scrum. It was up on the mark, then Munster drive after. I think scrums have been very hard to referee in this game. And I'm definitely glad that I don't have the duty of doing it, because there have been a lot of very difficult ones to work out. I think the crowd are chanting for Munster at the moment. Well, we will go like that and like that. Currently, in terms of the odds, I was checking them just before, and Munster aren't given much of a chance in this game. But if they can score now, that ball almost got stuck in there for Leinster, but they will, the ball's popped out the back. I don't know who's hooked that one, but it has been extremely effective at getting that ball back onto the side of Munster. Now going off to the left-hand side, once again, the back line's just not quite functioning here for this Munster side. Up to the halfway line. Ball is there, says the referee. Now back to the right. One more pass across. Wide cut out. It's going to be kicked in behind. Oh, almost went out on the full, but it does roll out. It's one of the first times we've actually seen Tom Farrell throughout this game, and it is a decent kick. And Scannell getting one over Killer, says Jimbo. Yeah, although you wonder at what stage these two starting hookers will make their way from the field. Clark off the bench for Munster. We've already seen him a little bit, so that might buy a bit more time for the starting two. And then you've got Lee Barron, who I don't think they'll be rushing to get out there on the field as this game, even though it is almost won, it's not quite. It didn't look like the straightest throw from Killer, but I don't think it was contested by Munster, so it is allowed. Now Caelan Doris trying to break his way forward. Billy Burns gets him down. Back into the pocket. Sam Prendergast. I see taking useless backline Munster, but I'm happy with it. Go Leinster. Says Spider Mick. Thought about the offload there again for the Munster men. Gavin Coombs, two-man tack on him by Doris and Cian Healy. Billy Burns trying the cross kick. Finds the hands of Thomas Ahern, but he's going to be a bit isolated. He's off his feet there. He's done well. I think that's actually... Was that Lee Barron? It might have been. I think they've actually made that change. Or at least they might have also left Keller... Yeah, Keller's still on, so I don't think that was Lee Barron who I saw there. I'm just trying to find the numbers at the moment. That is going to be in the hands of Munster. They're on the halfway line now. Patterson can't get through. Gavin Coombs goes back across to the right-hand side. Now trying the grubber. It was the wrong decision, and that's going to hit his knee. And in fact, that ball didn't even go out up until Leinster. I don't think that was out, was it? I think in the replay there, they'll actually see that Leinster picked the ball up and put it out. I think originally when he was getting pushed towards the sideline here, Munster, I don't think he actually did put that ball out. Did he? I want to see the replay, but now they're showing a replay of something that happened earlier on. Farrell in Ringrose's pocket. Says Jimbo. So yeah, it's going to be Leinster's lineup, but I believe that it actually hit the knee of the Munster player, and then the ball wasn't out until the Leinster player actually brought it out. Yes, he did, says Spider Mick. I'm not sure if that's yes, he did, as in he did put it out for the Leinster guy or the Munster guy. But, yeah, a little bit confusing. It's going to be the rolling maul. Ronan Kelleher's day is done. Still plenty of time left. Barronin says a Jimbo. That's going to be kicked in behind. Nicely taken to the back by Mike Haley. And Munster says Spider Mick. Now 16 minutes. Tell you what, Leinster have to be careful in those breakdowns. They're really on the verge of what is legal and what is not throughout this whole game. But it's been effective. It is, if we're talking about tactically, it has beautifully disrupted that Munster breakdown. And they've looked awful with their passing out the back line because of it. Oh, close to offside there for Tyg Byrne, rushing up, making the tackle low on his Irish teammate Doris. Of course, those two will join forces in about 2 months' time for the Six Nations competition. Going off to the left-hand side here for Leinster. Short ball, finding Robbie Henshaw. Now Gunn. Going off to Burns, skip pass to Josh Van Den Flair. He's done brilliantly to stay in the field of play, but then the arm was in touch. Touch judge says no, he wasn't. But luckily there was a knock on anyway. Going to see the replay here of Josh Van Den Flair. Clearly elbow in touch. How are things looking, boys? Honestly, I'm not sure, if we're being honest. Like, Leinster, they have looked like the better side. Their discipline has been worse. Munster haven't really been able to get forward momentum throughout pretty much this whole game. They are now making the change, though, of Billy Burns, bringing on the youngster. And Tony Butler, I believe it is. So we'll have to wait and see how he goes. Gleeson also onto the field. That is for Kinderlin. It's been taken off. The best play on the edge of the law, the Richie McCaw book of great rugby, says Jimbo. Yeah, although Leinster have been penalised a lot in this game, which they will want to work on for their next contest, I would say, because you just can't afford to give away 15 penalties. And yes, up against a side like Munster, you would think that it would have hurt them a little bit more, but it just hasn't. The ball's loose again. Munster dropping it. Sitting 15 metres out from the line here. So Paddy Patterson be able to put this one back for a kick. It's gone high. And it's uncontested. Oh, that's another knock on. Must be slipperier out there than it looks. We've seen a lot of drop balls throughout today. That's a beautiful backline movement here. Going out wide to Thomas Ahern. I think would almost be leading running meters for Munster at this point. Also scored the lone try over the ball. Doris almost got the penalty turnover. Now looking for the cross kick from the youngster Butler. 40 metres out from their line here for Munster, getting their little offload. Make 5 extra metres. Back across. Almost dropped ball. An open player, but he's kicked it in behind, looking for a 50-22. It's been taken back. Ross Byrne will kick this one downfield. Sits up nicely for Mike Haley. Whereas Arga and Geordie B, they are both not playing in this game. But I believe they will be back for the next game, which is early 2025. But yeah, just resting them for this game, I believe. And then they will be back, and they've both been playing extremely well. Why Munster play poorly? Not good enough. Says Spider-Mick. Oh, they almost just kicked that ball out on the full, but luckily for them, just staying in the field of play. This has been a bit of a force-back kicking battle. Now Shane Daly runs the ball straight and almost went through the gap. 12 minutes left. I mean, if Munster can get out of this game with 1 point, they would be pretty happy, I would think. That was a knock-on from Leinster, I thought. It looks like it's going to be play on, though. Munster have taken the ball, and they've been penalised for it. I see a lot of grass stain. Is it a wet field? I think it's just an evening kind of, maybe a little bit dewy, perhaps. But I don't think there's necessarily rain around. But, yeah, I think just a little bit of dew. Right, penalty goes the way of Leinster. They have now got themselves another chance here to try and add some more points. One more try, like I've mentioned the whole time, that would give them 5 points from this game, which would be a massive, well, I was going to say a confidence booster, but they don't really need it. They're undefeated this year. In Munster, they will kick it downfield as Leinster were unable to find touch with the kicker Burn. Evening dew, it's freezing here tonight. Says Jimbo. Now ready for the line out throw here. Be the youngster Lee Barron. I've got 11 minutes left to try and get that last try. That's almost become the new, I guess, objective for this Leinster side. Originally it was win the game. Now it is win it comfortably with 4 tries on the board. Looking for a rolling maul. Josh Van den Flair passes back across there to the hands of Ross Byrne. He's shut down early. Munster looking for the turnover, can't get it. Gunn going off to the left-hand side. Joe McCarthy with the inside ball. Now Gunn goes off to Doris. He's had a busy game. 15 tackles made, and that was about 3 tackles ago. Joe McCarthy does something good. Moves up to 40 metres out from the line. Now pick and go, short side. Space is open now. Jimmy O'Brien just not quite able to link up with any of his teammates. Back across, Josh Van den Flair. Still 10 minutes to work, looking for that bonus point. Ross Byrne goes off to, I believe it was James Ryan this time. Bonus point coming up, you're welcome, says Gary. Now Kian Healy. Be tackled again. Jamie Osborne joins the line. Caelan Doris. Another good tackle, mate. For Munster, the trend so far today has been that every once in a while they let someone through too easily. And that makes the difference. Caelan Doris, still 30 metres out from the line. Now looking to use their back line here. Quick hands. Oh, that's going to be, is that a deliberate knockdown? Yes, it is against Munster. Now Robbie Henshaw passes across to Byrne. He will go for the kick in behind. Chasing after this one is Kelvin Nash. And it's a goal line dropout. They must have ruled that one as just a knock-on rather than a deliberate one. Now, goal line dropout. They need at least 40 metres on this. It's pretty cold here in Suffolk, Hamish. I missed home summer, says Spider Mick. You know, it's quite chilly up there this time of year. But did you get snow for Christmas? That would have almost been on the cards, wouldn't it? Up in the north. I see taken. Oh, was it knocked on by Joe McCarthy? It might have been, but it is play on. Ringrose. Now the pick and go from Ryan Beard. Seems like Leinster still have a lot more in the gas tank than Munster. Munster trying to scramble to keep themselves in this game, but it's going to be hard to do that. Looked like it was a little bit high, but he was falling into it, so he might be a bit hard done by. If he was going to get penalised for it, Josh Van den Flair, Porter, low tackle in by Thomas Ahern, who I think has been the pick of the players for Munster throughout this game. Now, still looking for this ball. 8 minutes left. 13 degrees Celsius and drizzly over Christmas, quite mild. That's actually not bad, is it? 13 degrees Celsius. 46 degrees and cloudy in Detroit, Michigan, USA. That'll be 46 Fahrenheit, won't it? Gary, I believe. Oh, now pass on the outside. This is the chance. Ringrose, though, goes by himself. Rather than getting that next pass away, that was close to a turnover. McCarthy, only 2 metres from the line, locked over the ball. Ty Byrne, does he get the turnover? The referee's looking at it. He's saying, I don't know what he said there, but it should have been penalty to Munster. Now penalty against Munster is the call. Or at least the advantage anyway. I don't know what Ty Byrne did wrong there in terms of that breakdown. I guess Neyman and Geordie Barrett being rested shows what Leinster think of Munster. Says Neville. I mean, to be fair, they're winning by 14, aren't they? Now we're going back for another penalty. Going to be 5 metres out from the crowd, or 5 metres out from the line. The crowd not happy with that call. Ringrose mucked that chance. Says Jimbo and Ireland, there are 3 months of winter and 9 months of bad weather. Says Kevin. Yeah. But at least you become acclimatised to it, right? As long as you're used to it, it might not be as bad. Probably still not that pleasant, but, you know, bit of rain's nice sometimes. 5 metres out from the line here. We see a bit of wrestling between McCarthy and Ty Byrne. I don't know why he was wrestling him. It looks like Ty Byrne is he's down at the moment, getting a bit of medical attention. I think that stops the quick tap, though, so that might have been the plan there. Ryan makes his way onto the field. That is for Blula. Is it possible for Leinster to get another try? It should be. Like, they have all the signs that say that they should be able to get either one, like, now, because they're only 5 metres out, or maybe one in about 2 minutes' time. But I would be more surprised if they didn't score than if they did. So, yeah. Scott Penny onto the field for Josh Van Flair. Also did see Jordan Lama make his way onto the field for Gary Ringrose. That's going to be only 2 metres out from the line now for Leinster. Going off gun, goes to Doris, he's over. And Leinster get their bonus point try. No real surprises there. It depends what time left, says Spider-Mick. And Byrne, a wise old fellow, says Jimbo, but that is now going to be the bonus point try for Leinster. Bonus point for Leinster, says Neville there. The quick tap going. And there you go, says Spider-Mick. And there as well. But Doris bulldozing his way towards the try line. And yeah, does get that ball down. They were very happy about that one. Ball gets a slap in the head for his troubles from Andrew Porter. Now 6 minutes remaining. We'll get the chance to line up this kick. Crowd pretty quiet for Ross Byrne's first kick of the game. 26 metres out. So not the most difficult kick that he will have to take. Yeah, this one, a lot more one-sided, I think, than people wanted to see. A good day for the punters, says Anonymous. Was it? That, like, for this game or just in general? So many penalties but no three-pointers. Yeah, both sides have just decided to go for the corner, trying to get as many tries as they can. In some cases it has worked. Although that one was off a quick tap rather than a corner rolling maul or anything. But now, full 5 points should be there for Leinster. Okay, Ben O'Connell, or Connor, I should say, is going to make his way onto the field for Munster. And once again, another loose ball picked up by the men in blue. Back across to the left-hand side. Jamie Osborne. Nicely sits up. Wants to go away. Oh, that's another knock on. Just dropped cold. Pressure's all off now. They've already conceded the 4. They don't have to worry about that one. But now, scrum feed for Leinster. Come on, Leinster, says Miriam. They don't want to go for penalties nowadays. Tries the way to go. These two won't take three-pointers against each other. Silly Christmas pride, says Jimbo. Still some very tired players out there on the field. Looks like Clark going to be going up against Barron. So all new front rows, I believe, at this point. Leinster will go into 2025 undefeated for this year of the URC, 9 from 9. But still a long way to go. Still Champions Cup fixtures, I believe. In fact, when is the next game for these two sides in the URC? I think it's about 20 days away, because I don't think they play over New Year's. So the next game for these two teams, I believe it's going to be Leinster versus the Stormers. That's on the 26th of January. And then for Munster, they are playing the Dragons on that same day. So quite a wee way until we get to see them playing again. We're now 3 minutes remaining. This match, and Leinster have got themselves another penalty. So Ross Byrne will be looking towards the corner. He did miss one of them. It's on the 25th, mate. Oh, yeah, sorry. 25th for you guys in the north, 26th for us here in New Zealand. with the time zones being a thing. But yes, round that same weekend, I think, is the main thing to take out of that. Not so much the exact date and time. A 7-pointer is better than 3, says Spider-Mech. That is statistically and mathematically correct. Sam Prendergast does get man of the match for Leinster. Now running at 4, Caelan Doris, they're only a couple metres out. Already got the 4 on the board. They might as well get the 5. I don't think Munster have been at their best today. Leinster also, though, you could argue, haven't been too flash, but they have taken 4 opportunities. Discipline, something that they will definitely want to work on. Speaking of discipline, that was extremely early that we saw Tom Farrell rush up there for Munster. 2 minutes left. Ross Byrne goes across to Doris. One more. Osborne, short pop pass up to Jordan Lama. Gets through 2, still running at the line. Now moves within 7. Now back across to the left-hand side. Tackle made on Joe McCarthy. Back-to-back man of the matches for Prendergast. And always good to see you guys got to go. And thanks so much for doing this. No worries at all. All that was going to be Doris. No, in fact, Beard wanted to go for the pick and go, but I think he was shut down by Munster's ruck. 90 seconds left. On the side of the breakdown again. And that was close. In fact, I think he's claiming that one. He stood back up. He's left the ball on the line and said, ref, get that one. Now, 1 minute 15 remaining by the time we get this one done and dusted. If it is a try with the conversion, won't be a lot of time remaining on the clock. Keelan Healy, he thinks that it's a good one. And Leinster are walking back to the halfway line, so they like it. We go, we're going to see it there. Someone tried to kick him. That's not good. Right, this angle's not going to show it. We only see thigh and a face. Going to need it from the behind angle to see it a little bit better. Does he get it? Tell you what, that's not looking clear and conclusive from this angle. But he likes it. The guy who thought he scored it, there must be an... Oh, there... Was that the ball? Yeah, it was, I think. Although he's ended up a long way away from the ball. It looks like it's kind of just been thrown at the line. But I think he had control of it. You know, this is going to be a very hard one to rule. I think that he scored it, but we haven't got a clear angle, I don't think, that actually shows the... Maybe that one? No, that's the guy's boot. I think this is going to be ruled as a no try unless... Oh, no, we've found another camera angle. Where's this one come from? There's that good angle. Yep, that's going to be a try. Whoever's just made that one, that's going to be now given. I don't think they were going to give it based off the other angles that they had. To be honest, like that one's almost, I would say that that's a try. A one-arm stretch. And adios, G. Miller. A Merry Christmas to your brother. Says Spider-Mech. Yeah, that's got to be over the line, doesn't it? I know we don't see the ball clearly over the line, but we see it from the other angle of him stretching out past the line, and then that angle shows the ball hitting the grass. But I think they're going to look at it 27 times, which makes me think that they might end up saying no try. Oh, what's the decision? They have no evidence to overturn the on-field decision, so it's going to be no try. A cameraman gets a bonus for that angle, but apparently not, because it wasn't a good enough one for them to actually see it grounded. So it's going to be a goal line dropout. And watch Munster's reaction, definitely a try. Yeah, that was also something that kind of gave it away, but... Wait, so they've actually... The on-field decision was knock on. So they've said that... Oh... So they've looked at it, they've decided he didn't ground it, but instead grounded it short of the line, then has knocked it on, and then that's why it's no try. Okay. 1 minute remaining on the clock. Leinster still have the ball, though. Now, back across, Joe McCarthy. Onto the short side. Sack the TMO, says Jimbo. Oh, that's a rough pass from Gunn, but I think it might have clipped someone in the breakdown. I spoke slash type too soon. Stormers for the win tomorrow. They'll have to play well because they have struggled a little bit in their past couple of games. But when they play well, like they are a very dangerous side. And I do hope that they can really take it to the Sharks. or at least make it competitive in that game. Like, the Sharks are a great side. In terms of current form, they've been looking very handy. Back across to the right. Was that a knock-on? Thought it might have been. Now going back across to the left-hand side. 15 seconds remaining. Leinster have got the bonus point, which is exactly what they needed from this game. Now skip pass. Right, we're about to hear full-time siren. Will they kick this one out, Leinster, or do they want one more try? I think they might. Well, I would kick it out. Because you've already got the bonus point, and all you're risking now is you're trying to get 7 points, but you're risking someone getting injured in what is already a very hard season in terms of the amount of games that they play. Sharks taking it tomorrow, says Lilia B. Yeah, we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well, so anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because we will be back for that contest as well. Looks like Leinster just gone phase after phase. They want one more try. They want to increase that points differential by the looks of it. Jordan Lama hit hard. Right, if they end up injured here, it is their own fault. Now, I saw offload, though. That's some open space coming for Scott Penny. Plenty of pace from him as they move into the 22-metre area of Munster, who wanted the turnover. Couldn't get it. Good game. Salute to Leinster for the winner. Good commentary, Hamish. Bye, everyone. Bye, Hammy, till next season. So, yeah, we will see you possibly next year, I guess, rather than tomorrow. And I imagine finish this URC, end up champions undefeated Leinster. Says destroying dumb people. Now it's going to be chipped in behind by Munster. Now kicked into touch by Leinster. And they will win this game 28 points to 7. So a pretty one-sided one in the end. 14 points to 0 at halftime. We saw a slight comeback from Munster in the early stages of the second half. But then from there, just Leinster all the way to the bonus point. So, yeah, overall, a very solid performance from Leinster. But once again, there are still things that they would really want to work on heading into their future games. The next round that they are going to be taking place in is the Champions Cup in January. It is the 25th or 26th, depending on where you are in the world. But for the Champions Cup, the next game for Leinster, I believe, is going to be taking place in that second week of January, somewhere around there anyway. And Munster have got Saracens on the 11th of January, or the 12th if you're in New Zealand. And then Leinster have got La Rochelle. Oh, that's a big game. That is a very big game. And we will be covering it on the channel as well, ladies and gents. So if you are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow for the next game of the URC. And that one will be the matchup between the Sharks and the Stormers. But thank you all very much for tuning in. And I will see you all for the next one.